Arsenal remain the leaders at the top of the table over in the Premiership, of course, but what's going to go on this coming weekend? Lots of games, lots of drama, lots of stuff to be had. We're going to take a little look at it next. That's right, folks, back once again with a prediction video. Today we're talking about match day number 18 and we're live in Skipton Castle. The sun is going down, it's freezing, but we're going to get our predictions in nice and early. Joining me is Linda. That's right, she's going to give her short, sharp predictions for this week's games. But of course, if you do, subscribe, thumbs up, smash the old little bell. But anyway, before we jump into next week's games, a quick, short, sharp recap of what went on last time around. So, let's get into it. Of course, Forest did play Spurs in the Brendan Johnson derby. 2-0 win it was for Angie's boys, back to winning ways, up to 5th in the table. Meanwhile, Bournemouth against Luton Town, bit of drama there, man down, you know. Christian Eriksen effect, another, a cardiac arrest on the pitch. Not good to see. Terrible stuff. Match was abandoned. Meanwhile, Chelsea back to winning ways. Of course, 2-0 win. Chris Wilder not really having too much effect in the moment. Still bottom of the Premier League. Meanwhile, City against Palace 2-2. What an absolute shocker that was. That was over at the Etihad. So big result that for Palace. Big result for the Premier League in itself. And of course, a good result for the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal. Meanwhile, Newcastle United big 3-0 winners over Fulham. Back to winning ways for them. Burnley 2-0 loss to Fulham. We'll love to see it. 2-0 loss to Everton in the Sean Dyche derby there. So good result for them. Everton flying, even though their position doesn't reflect that with that 10-point deduction. Meanwhile, Arsenal 2-0 winners over Brighton and Hove Albion. Gun was getting in the way. So good win for Arsenal, who of course topping the table right here, right now, with that 1 point. And we'll elaborate on that in a minute. Meanwhile, Brentford with a 2-1 loss to Aston Villa, of course flying high, up to 3rd on the table. And they are contenders right now. And we'll see how they get on as well this weekend. West Ham United against Wolves in the battle of the W's. 3-0 win it was for West Ham, of course up to 8th in the table now, cooking my gas. And then finally the big one, Liverpool against Man United, 0-0 in the end. Ball draw, of course. But let's skip on forward to match number 18, which is this weekend, and me and Linda are going to do this together right here, right now. Are you happy? She's thrilled to be here. So here we go. Palace up against Brighton and Hove Albion, of course, coming at you over at Crystal Palace. Of course, looking at this game, Roy, big result for them against Manchester City, up against the Brighton team. Of course, a decent and 9th spot at the moment. What are we thinking, Linda? Crystal Palace, Brighton, which way are you going?
6-0.
Which way?
Crystal Palace.
6-0 to Crystal Palace. She's going big. That's, of course, she's backing Roy's boys, but I think it's going to be a bit more even keel or heel. I think, of course, they're going to be buoyed on by that victory or that result against Man City, but I still think it's going to be a tight game. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw on that one to see who comes out on top next time. Meanwhile, Villa up against Sheffield United. Aston Villa, who are 3rd, up against Sheffield United, who are bottom. Linda, which way are you going?
4-2.
4-2 to
Aston Villa.
You got it. She's cooking. She's onto something there. I feel is our Linda. And yes, Aston Villa are really blitzing, especially at home. Their home form is amazing. About 20 odd games unbeaten up against, of course, Sheffield United team who are struggling, even though they have changed manager. But of course, it's not going to go in their favour. It's going to be a comfortable 3-0 win for Aston Villa. Manchester City up against Brentford. I believe that game has been rescheduled according to our data. But if it was to go ahead, which way would you go, Linda? Would you go for City, who are the champions, or would it be Brentford, who are, of course, the visitors?
I'm going to have to go with City.
City. Any scoreline if it happens?
3-1.
3-1. Okay, I'm going to go with 3-0 as well. But again, we don't think it's going to happen, so we'll leave that one out. But make sure you get your Super Brews up to date. We'll bring you bang up to those when we come back. Meanwhile, kicking on forward is West Ham United. It is Manchester United over in London, of course. It's the David Moyes derby on this one. Of course, Manchester United, big team, big club. Of course, in a bit of a limbo land at the moment. Up against West Ham United, of course, recent success in Europe. Linda, which way?
Let's go 0-0.
0-0. That's an okay scoreline, not too shabby. But for me, of course, I do think there's going to be goals in this one. West Ham are fighting in 8th, West Ham and Man United are in 7th. There's just 1 point between these two sides. And of course, Man United in the form book, in the Premier League. 1-1 lost, 1 drew, 1 over the last 3, according to my eyes. With West Ham, of course, just 1 loss in the last 6. I think it's going to be tough. I'm going to go with a 2-1 away win for Manchester United. Meanwhile, we go with Fulham, of course, and their visitors. Like 6 fingers, so it's Burnley, that's right. Of course, those down the road. So in London, Burnley, go to Fulham. Which way are we going, Linda?
2-0.
Which? 2-0 Fulham. She's going with Silver's boys on this one. I'm predicting a similar scoreline. Fulham are doing absolutely fantastic stuff so far, 11th in the table, and of course a decent result recently. 3 wins, 3 defeats in the last 6. Burnley, of course, in free fall right now. We'd love to see it. Going to go with a 3-0 win, and that could be company out on its ear. Meanwhile, Luton Town against Newcastle United, as of right now, is going ahead, because we don't know what's going on with Tom Lockyer, if that's going to put any delay on that, up against Newcastle United, who are flying high into 6th at the moment. So Luton strugglers, minnows in this one. Linda, up against Newcastle, who are, of course, a Champions League team.
Luton 0. Newcastle 2.
Newcastle 2-0 away side victory there. I'm going to make it a tricky one. I think they might get something out of this. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Maybe the boys will be kicked on from that collapse of Lockyer, the captain, last time. So I think they're going to be buoyed on. They might even win that one, so we'll see. Meanwhile, Forest up against Bournemouth, coming at you over and in the City Ground. Of course, Nottingham Forest in 17th spot. Good little bit, 5 points difference between themselves and the drop zone. Up against the Bournemouth side, who are up into 14th right now. Struggles. I think they've been playing above their station at the moment, Bournemouth. But which way? I'm gonna go first on this one. I'm just calling it. I'm gonna go with a 0-0 draw. Linda, which way do you think is gonna go with this one?
I'm gonna go with 0-1.
Ooh, 0-1 to Bournemouth. All right, she's going with the away side, back in the Seasiders all the way. Get into the final 3 now. We have Tottenham Hotspur under Ange up against Sean Dyche's Everton. Of course, false position, false stuff in the table. They're 16th, but technically, if they hadn't had that 10-point deduction, they'd be up as high as 9th. Up against Spurs, who are 5th, back to winning ways, back-to-back wins, of course. Ange ball up against Sean Dyche ball. Linda, I'm going for you on this one.
4-0.
4-0 Tottenham. She's back in the Spuds on this one. I also going to back the Spuds. I'm going to go with a 3-0 win. We're going to go with similar scorelines on that one, but I'm going to back the host. Kicking on forward to the final 2. Big one. It's first up against second. It's Arsenal. It's Liverpool. But it's over in Anfield. Lock up your car radios. Which way are we going to go on this one, Linda?
0-1.
0-1. She's back in David Raya between the sticks up for the Gooners. For me, I'm going to go the other way. 2-1 win. I think Liverpool will get in full advantage here and really put themselves in the driving seat for the Premier League. And then wrapping up. It is Wolves. It is Chelsea. It is at Molineux. It's freezing here in Skipton Castle. Linda, wrapping this one up. Molineux.
0-2.
0-2. Of course, she's back in Chelsea. I'm also going to do the same. I'm going to get the same scoreline on that one. That, my friends, will complete this short prediction in the Premier League match game at 18. We're freezing, but we've got a couple more to do. But until then, we're out.